utpadyamānam utpādo yadi cotpādayatyayam utpādayet utpādam utpādaḥ katamaḥ punaḥ.
Utpadyamānam utpādo yadi cotpādayaty ayam utpādayet tam utpādam utpādaḥ katamaḥ punaḥ. MMK chapter 7 verse 18. And if this arising gives rise to the now being born, which arising might cause that arising once more to arise? Or in a deeper meaning, and if this going up gives rise to the now being born, which of many acts of going up might give rise afresh to that going up? So on the surface, the gist of the question is, if this arising, so utpādo yam, utpādaḥ ayam. Ayam, nominative singular masculine, utpādaḥ, nominative singular masculine. This arising, this production, this genesis. So if we were following Johannes's Bronkhorst translation of the previous verse, we would say ayam utpādaḥ was this production, because Bronkhorst talks about if any unproduced entity is found anywhere, it could be produced. Since that entity does not exist, what is produced? And then so this verse will be discussing this production. I'm not quite clear how, if Bronkhorst had been translating not just one verse in isolation, but the whole stream of this chapter, how he would have made sense of that. But the way I make sense of the gist of the ontological or ostensible meaning is again, it's a rhetorical question. And so if this, so ayam utpādaḥ could refer back to the genesis that the opponent is asking about. So you could say, and if this arising in square brackets of yours, if this genesis of yours gives rise to what's now being born, the present, then which genesis might give rise to that genesis? And so the gist of the question is, if you understand utpādaḥ to be a non-empty event, like a genesis, then how can, it's the same question as you already asked before, how can a non-empty thing cause the arising of another non-empty thing? So how can this arising give rise to that arising? Understood like that, it's like a concept question. He's asking us a question just to check our understanding. Yeah, and the answer is, of course, that wouldn't be possible, because if an arising is a non-empty thing, a self-existing, self-contained, separate instance of something, then what's non-empty doesn't have the power. It's immutable and unchangeable. It doesn't have the power to generate another non-empty thing. So that's the simple gist of the rhetorical question. And to go back to word by word, and, so that's cha of cotpādayaty in the second pada, cha, and if, yadi, so yadi cha, and if, because the previous verse also begins with yadi. So if and and if. Yadi cha, this arising, utpadaḥ ayam. Before yadi, utpadaḥ goes to utpādo. So this arising, utpādo ayam, gives rise, utpādayaty. So that's causative of, third person singular causative of utpād. So cause to arise, or in short, cause, give rise to. The now being born, utpadyamānam, nominative singular accusative. So the subject is this arising, ayam utpadaḥ, and the object is utpadyamānam, the now being born. And if this arising gives rise to the now being born, utpadyamānam utpādo, yadi cotpādayaty ayam. Then the second line is the question, which arising, utpādaḥ katamaḥ. So katamaḥ means which or who, and especially which of many or who of many. Or sometimes it's just more emphatic, but utpādaḥ katamaḥ, which arising, might cause to arise, utpādayet. So that's third person singular optative of the causative of utpād. So might cause to arise, or in short, might cause. And then the object, tam utpādam, that arising. Accusative singular masculine, tam utpādam, that arising. Once more, that's the last word of the verse, punaḥ, which arising might cause that arising once more to arise. Utpādayet tam utpādam, utpādaḥ katamaḥ punaḥ. So again, it's a rhetorical question, and it's just like driving the point home that a genesis, as the opponent conceives it, couldn't work in practice. Because if arising was a non-empty, self-existing thing, it couldn't give rise to this arising could not give rise to that arising. And so that's what it means on the surface. But what it means below the surface, the key to it again, as always, is utpada. What does it mean? What does he mean by utpada? If you go back to the dedicatory verses, anirodam anutpadam, beyond death, beyond birth. But what he's describing as beyond death and beyond birth is apratitya samutpadam, ya pratitya samutpadam, he who taught pratitya samutpada. He taught samutpada, integral going up by going back. In other words, dependent arising. So right there in the dedicatory verses, you've got that irony of two meanings of utpada. In the first instance, the teaching is anutpada. It's beyond arising, beyond birth. And what's beyond birth or beyond arising is pratitya samutpada, complete arising by going back. So this chapter, all the way through, is riffing on that irony. Ostensibly, certainly in the words of the opponent, utpada it means birth, production, genesis, as a non-empty thing. But below the surface, what Nāgārjuna is interested in is utpada, which is samutpada, which is an integral going up, which in other words is utpati, flying up, something transcendent action. So, ayam utpādaḥ, this going up. And if yadi, this going up, ayam utpādaḥ, gives rise, utpādayaty, to the now being born, utpadyamānam, so that's a different condition. If this going up, if this real going up, which is utpādastiti banga, which is going up as staying still, as inhibition, as the breaking up of the whole aggregate of suffering. Dukkha skandasya kevaloyam, this whole aggregate of suffering, evam samyan nirudyate, is thus completely destroyed. That's what banga means in the title, utpadastiti banga, going up, staying still, and breaking it up. The breaking up is expressed in the final verse of chapter 12. Tasya nirodena tatanabi pravartate, dukkha skanda kevaloyam evam samyan nirudyate. Tasya nirodena, by the destruction of this one and that one, tatanabi pravartate, this one and that one no longer advance. Dukkha skanda, the aggregate of suffering, kevaloyam, this whole aggregate of suffering, evam, in this way, samyan, well and truly, nirudyate, is destroyed. That's the real meaning of banga. It's not the dissolution of a moment of consciousness. It's the destroying the inhibition of the whole aggregate of suffering, which is utpada, going up, which is stiti, staying still. This arising, this going up, ayam utpādaḥ, gives rise, utpādayaty, to the now being born, utpadyamānam. So what's happening now is what gives rise to it, what makes it real, what gives birth to it, is this going up. And of course, what he's talking about primarily is sitting meditation, sitting upright in the lotus posture. And that's alluded to in the second line. Which of many acts of going up, utpādaḥ katamaḥ, so literally singular, which going up, but katamaḥ means which of many. So with a bit of poetic license, utpādaḥ, katamaḥ, which of many acts of going up might give rise, utpādayet, afresh, punaḥ, to that going up, tam utpādam. Which of many acts of going up might give rise afresh to that going up? So you could understand it in many ways, but to me what it suggests, the answer to the question might be the primary act of going up is sitting in lotus in the morning with your head shaved, wearing a kesa. This one, by the way, I sewed 30 years ago, and the corner that I put over my left shoulder has become a little bit raggy. So often these days, I just put it loosely around myself like that and don't tie it up. I don't know how orthodox or legitimate that is, but that's, as a matter of fact, that is how I sit in the morning, like this. And to me, what this is pointing to is just this sitting like this, sitting in full lotus, going back to the backward step of turning light and letting it shine. Going back to being wrong. Going back in the first instance, I sit for the first half hour, I just don't do anything. Just I wallow in my wrongness, like an elephant in the mud, till the elephant is ready to come out. Going back. Going up by going back. Back and down. And coming up and out of it. Utpādayet tam utpādam, utpādaḥ, katamaḥ, punaḥ. Which of many acts of going up might give rise afresh to that going up? Put it another way, I go back to what I was taught by Marjorie Barlow and Nellie Ben-Or, because the going up that I experienced, especially doing chair work with Nellie, that was refreshing. It refreshed going up, because we're always liable to fool ourselves that our habitual, customary state of contracting into our resentment and victimhood, or failure to take responsibility, negation of cause and effect on some deep level. Whatever it is that we're secretly doing to pull ourselves in and down unconsciously, what Nellie would say, what ordinarily governs us, that we don't like to give up. Bugger off and leave me alone, Nellie. I want to just be miserable and dark in my little hovel of habit. To be shown at least the possibility that that's what you're doing almost all the time, and there is another possibility. Which of many acts of going up might give rise afresh to that going up? I haven't done this verse justice whatsoever, but hopefully I've opened up the ground somewhat, so that people might look for the deeper meaning, which is, it's a kind of attempt to answer the question in the previous verse. Kim utpadyate? What goes up? What is going up? When we talk about utpādaḥ, going up, what goes up? Like Master Dogen says in chapter 72, Zammai or Zammai, the Samadhi which is king of Samadhis. Is this going up a somersault? Is it a backward step? Is it doing something? Is it non-doing? Is it treading on the heads of the Buddhist patriarchs? There should be thousands and tens of thousands of questions like these.
utpadyamānam utpādo yadi cotpādayatyayam utpādayet utpādam utpādaḥ katamaḥ punaḥ.